The greatest power you possess is your ability to choose. Join Lowe's Moore as he reveals how you can begin to maximize that power by exploring yourself on the deepest levels and committing to making lasting and positive changes. Get ready to achieve breakthroughs that will lead to accelerated growth and transformation, because you are now tuned in to The Blueprint.
Why the actions contradict the lamb. I'm fellowshipping when I'm with the fam. That's more relations, that's forming a fun.
Good morning and welcome back to the Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Lowe's Moore, and I'm excited to be back with you another week. I mean, you know, this is, look, I got to start out by, this is my pebble in the pond, right? It's my miniature basketball. I want to drop this pebble in the pond because I'm expecting a ripple effect of today's podcast, and it's going to be with mixed emotions. But, you know, I just wanted to be able to celebrate my friend, my brother, right? Gus Williams, my idol. I mean, if you go back and look at when I first started in the NBA, started playing basketball, I tied my shoes behind me, just like Gus tied his shoes behind him. I'm excited, man, this morning. And you know, I had a meeting the other day with we've been trying for years to get this documentary together of what they call 4 Square Miles of Glory. And there's been so many wonderful basketball players, both male and female, that have just in this 4.2 square miles have just, man, we have just been explosive. You know what? I honestly, with a couple of my friends that I'm with all the time, whether we are talking on a call or whether we together, man, Mount Vernon, New York, right? Because there are other Mount Vernon, Virginia, Mount Vernon, Washington, you know, the state of Washington, and then there's, you know, Mount Vernon, New York. I mean, we are an extremely unique city, man. I mean, and I would say that for most of my life, it's been a city built around what I consider as family, right? And, you know, we may have been rivals growing up, whether we were playing baseball, football, basketball, whatever, little league, whatever it is, that we found ourselves to put our hands to and to compete. I mean, there's always competition is what helps you grow. But yet, at the end of the day, in spite of the competition and in spite of the winning and the losing, right, I think we are truly a family, you know, a real brotherhood, a real sisterhood, a family in the city of Mount Vernon. And we talk about this constantly when we see each other in another state. Because I think I'm going to remember his name before I get off here, but what's it, Letterman? Not the Letterman that we used to watch on television, but there's another Letterman from Mount Vernon, and everywhere he travels, and he travels a lot, everywhere he travels, he always has a Mount Vernon shirt, and he always finds somebody from Mount Vernon in that area, whether it be in another country or another state. He always finds you know, somebody to put from Mount Vernon to put that shirt on. So we are a very unique city, right? And we're hoping that in this year, 2025, we'll be able to get out with this documentary, some documentaries. It's not just one documentary about Mount Vernon, the basketball side of it, and how basketball has kind of transformed and allowed. Not everybody can play basketball, right? But they looked at the work ethic. They looked at the excellence that came through basketball, and people said, well, you know, I can't play basketball, but I can sing. I can't play basketball, but I can act. I can't play basketball, but I can dance, right? And I mean, yeah, I can't play basketball, but I can become a doctor, a teacher, a lawyer, right? And so I'm dropping this seed, right? I'm expecting the ripple effect of this show as we celebrate Gus Williams. But before we get going, I want to say happy Valentine's Day to all the women in my life, my mom, and especially my wife, right? As we celebrated, Valentine's Day on yesterday, right? I want to say happy Valentine's to all the women, all the nieces, aunts. Yeah, just happy Valentine's, daughters. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you guys. Yeah, just amazing. You need every woman, every person needs to be loved, and we're in this month, right? We're in this month, what I consider is the love revolution, right? In this month is the love revolution, and we're celebrating. Last year I did 29 days straight of the podcast called the Love Revolution and the 29 day love challenge. This year we're focusing on not just this month, right? But we're focusing on 365 days of love, where we're thinking constantly about how do we love unconditionally, right? I mean, we're in a world, in a society, man, that doesn't see love 365, right? And we're here to promote love 365, right? 365 days of unconditional love, acts of kindness, right? And I'm excited to bring this to you each and every week. And then I can't forget, there's a lot of stuff, man. Last week I had a wonderful show with my main man, Sam Bam. Clancy, played basketball, most of his career. Ended up, after he didn't succeed in as a professional basketball player, he transitioned over to football and played 12 years of football. And as we celebrated, the Super Bowl. Everybody had a Super Bowl party or a small Super Bowl party, and football is over. And I want to say congratulations to because there's only going to be one winner. A lot of teams, one winner, right? To the Philadelphia Eagles, and particularly, I didn't want to see Saquon leave New York, championship or no championship, but, we let him go. And he went on to the Philadelphia Eagles, and he won a Super Bowl. And I was really happy. I'm a person like this. If you win in 165 games in a row, I'm not the person that's going to say, hey, it's time for you to lose. You've been winning too much. I don't know anybody. I can't think of anybody in my mind who loves losing. Right? Everybody I know in life wants to win at everything they put their hands to. Right? If Kansas City had won, I would have been happy to see Patrick Mahomes win 3 in a row, 4 in a row, 5 in a row. I'm just that guy. I like to win. I don't even want to say losing, right? But I was happy for Jalen Hurts because for me he was an underdog. Everybody wants him to throw the ball like Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. He just does what he has to do, right, to win the championship, man. He don't care about how many yards he threw, how many yards he run, who got the most yards. His bottom line is that he's a leader and he wants to win, and I'm happy for him. And they still talking about he may not be a good quarterback. He's not Tom Brady. He's no Patrick Mahomes. Well, you know what? And all them guys you're talking about, Lamar Jackson, who I think is a wonderful quarterback, and all these other young quarterbacks that are wonderful that we project over him. The bottom line is, can you win? That's the bottom line. And he won the Super Bowl, and he was MVP. So, hey, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. And remember here, look, see my shirt says, I am Black History 365 days out of the year. Just like we're going to love for 365, Black History is not about Black History Month. It's about Black History every day, right? And it's not just about Black history. It's about all cultures. But right, I happen to be an African American, happen to be black, right? So I am focusing on that. I should know everybody else's history. I had to learn everybody else's history, right? Well, we need to know our history as well. So we celebrate Black History Month, right? We celebrate Black History 365 days out of the year. Awesome, right? And oh man, so I think I got through most of my stuff, but I want to start out, man, by like really, you know, Mount Vernon. And go back to Mount Vernon for a second. Mount Vernon is a very, very unique city, and I don't have time to get into all the people that have come out of Mount Vernon, but it's been mayors, and I can go on and on. But one of the unique things about Mount Vernon in regards to basketball, right, is if you see in this next slide, is that, you know, for me, Gus Williams, when Gus Williams got drafted by the Golden State Warriors, right? First of all, you know, you're going to hear a lot of this today because we're going to have some people pop on and talk about Gus, right? Is that Gus, hear this closely, right? He gets cut his sophomore year, because at that time they don't allow freshmen to play, right? And then yeah, don't forget my brother Curtis got drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers, right? And these guys on here who played for a minute, you know, just, you know, we had some people always say you had a cup of tea in the NBA. Well, I'll take that cup of tea anytime. I think anybody that ever wanted to play in the NBA or wanted to play professional sports would love to have had a cup of tea in the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, right? It's a major accomplishment. If you were drafted in the NBA, right? Richie Garner was drafted, you know, and then he was drafted not only in the NBA, but Gus, you got to remember, Gus was drafted in the NBA and the ABA. Richie Garner was the first one. He was drafted in the NBA and the ABA and chose to go into the ministry, right? And my brother Curtis was drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers. And so you got Isaiah Cousins, you know, who ended up being drafted to the Utah Jazz. You know, so there's a couple of names. The draft names are not up there, but those who played are there. So, you know, but check this out. Gus Williams played 1 year in high school. 1 year. Had an amazing Player of the Year in New York, in the state of New York, in 1 year, right? In 1 year. And then got a full scholarship to USC. Can I see that list again? Yeah, a full scholarship to USC. Then we had Ray Williams from, it would be switched. We would have Rudy Hackett, right, who went to Syracuse. Then we had Ray went to Minnesota. Earl Tatum went to Marquette. You know, I went to West Virginia. Scooter McCrae went to Louisville. Rodney McCrae went to Louisville. You know, Ben Gordon went to University of Connecticut. And then, of course, Kevin Jones went to West Virginia University. And, I mean, yeah, let's get rolling. I love it. I mean, Mount Vernon is just a unique and very special place. And so we're going to honor and celebrate Gus today. So let me start out with, you know, my book of the week. All right, the book of the week is, you know, another Mount Vernon person. Hey, let me say this real quick before I move on. I had an opportunity to go down in Yonkers, New York, and Denzel was, and you're gonna have to help me with this, right? It was an actress, and Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I can't remember her name. Pop her name up there if you remember her name. But anyway, Denzel invites me down to come down to where they were filming at. You know, so we go in this little trailer and stuff like that. We sit down, we talk. We're talking about what's going on and stuff like that. So then he said, "Hey man, let's go to lunch." So all the whole cast and everybody working is in there. And so we walk in, and the young lady who was playing alongside of him in the Manchurian Candidate, right? She played with him in the Manchurian Candidate, and I think is a couple other movies she played with him. And he turned around and introduced me to her, and she said, "Hey, this is my friend Lowe's Moore. We kind of grew up together." And he's from Mount Vernon. He said, "Oh no, not another Mount Vernon person, man! Every time I turn around, everywhere we go, there's a Mount Vernon person." And, you know, all somebody had to do is say something about Denzel from Mount Vernon, and everybody go, "Oh, not another Mount Vernon person." But here's Gerald Hoover, who has a bunch of books out, you know, trying to combat illiteracy and doing a wonderful job, you know, and he has books out. He's an author, and you know where he's from? Everybody tell me where he's from. Mount Vernon, New York, right? Gerald Hoover, check out his books, man. You know, wonderful for teenagers and young students in elementary school and middle school. That's my book of the week. And then here's my my word of the week, right? And this depicts and defines Gus. As we talk through the day, you're probably gonna hear a lot of this, right? Selfless. I don't think Gus has ever had a selfish bone in his body, right? He's always been selfless. I mean, it's a powerful word because everybody's always thinking about me. Why didn't you get? No, Gus was like always thinking about other people, right? Always, and all of his teammates will say it. I was his teammates in many tournaments and different things like that. He was always selfless, right? And it's a very powerful word that we need to learn about in this day and time. That's Gus Williams right there. If you had to put a name on it, right, on the back of his jersey with that number 1, it would be not Gus Williams, Selfless Williams. Yeah, right. Selfless Williams. He's selfless. And then here's my affirmation, my Hill Harper, Pierce Harper, not Meryl Streep. Yeah, we're gonna find that name for you. She played in it. Did Meryl Streep play in the Diary of a Mad Black Woman? I don't think so. I mean, but if she did, I don't know. That's a new movie. But here's the affirmation. My affirmation for this week is: no one is useless in this world who lightens the burden for others, for another. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. I mean, that's powerful by itself, man. If I can help somebody. Yep. Kimberly Elise. Somebody got it. Ding, 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 ding. And then here's my, that was my Hill Harper, Pierce Harper affirmation moment. And then here's my music and movie for the week. Yeah. Now, Gus' favorite artist was Al Green. Hey, if y'all know any Al Green song, what's your favorite Al Green song? Man, put it in the chat. What's your favorite Al Green song? I'm sure, Gus probably like, Let's Stay Together, Call Me, Love, Yeah, and then later on, he gave his life to God. He became a preacher. He became a gospel singer. And man, I remember when he did Precious Lord, right? Just awesome. Al Green, if you got a favorite. And check this out. I wonder what Gus was listening to. You see him on the floor looking through the albums there, and you see behind him, you don't even know some people are going to be looking at this and say, what is an album? What was Gus? Gus probably was listening to Al Green right there, as he's chilling out. Because, Gus was always chilling, man. He was the master of the chill, right? He never looked like anything bothered Gus, man. I never seen him stressed, but that's my, and then go back so I can give you my movie. It came out on Valentine's Day. I don't know if it was appropriate to go see, Captain America on Valentine's Day. But hey, if you get a chance to go see Captain America, check out Captain America. At some point, I'm going to check out Captain America. That's my movie of the week. Al Green's my music. Right? Al Green's my music. And I think, man, at some point today, man, I'll put a little Al Green on in remembrance of Gus. Man, it's gonna be awesome, man. You know, and I mean, I think a lot of us are handling this. I don't know how we handling it, man. I mean, you know, I was talking to some people on the phone yesterday, man. We all had we having our moments, you know, and this is gonna be a tough one to get through. But anyway, we're gonna continue to celebrate our friend and brother, you know, our idol, our light. I mean, he was a light for us, man. When we saw Gus do what he did from high school to college to the pros, and he got to the NBA, man, I think every young kid in Mount Vernon was saying, like, you know what? If he can light that tunnel, I'm gonna go through that tunnel. That tunnel is lit up with a light, and I'm gonna follow him through. I'm gonna find that light, and I'm gonna follow him through it. You know, and many of us just started coming. You know, he is really the foundation in terms of basketball. There was many great basketball players before him, right? And man, just amazing, right? So yeah, let's move on here. Let's see. Yeah, my person of the week, Ken Jenkins. He's now the Westchester County exec, right? From Mount Vernon. I'm sorry I had to say it. I mean, he may live in Yonkers now, right? But he bleeds maroon and gold. He's a knight, right? And Ken Jenkins is now the Westchester County exec, right? I want to say congratulations to my brother. Mount Vernon in the house, right? Mount Vernon's producing it. You know what? We are, you know, we are the diamond mine. I mean, you know, we got diamonds in Mount Vernon, man. I mean, just amazing, you know, people. Yesterday, I was at the women's basketball game at Mount Vernon High School, and I don't want to talk about the game, man. It wasn't all that great of a game. But it was senior night, right? And they had about 4 or 5 seniors. But when they mentioned every senior, because I want y'all to hear this. This is a nugget, right? This is a nugget. Every senior had amazing grades and going on to amazing schools. That's what it's all about. Yeah, but basketball is what we love. Yeah, but academics is how we succeed. You know, you can't have one without the other. You can't play ball without the education. You got to get the education. And those young ladies got the education. They didn't win yesterday on the court, but they won in life. So, you know, congratulations to them as well. And, yeah, I want to say happy birthday to Carice. That's my niece right there. Happy birthday, Carice. Today, actually, she was down in North Carolina. Her and her sister is now returned to Mount Vernon to celebrate her birthday. Right? I don't know if I was invited, but happy birthday to my niece. Right? And then coming soon, right? Coming soon. We got next week, right? Next week, we're going to be celebrating Black History, right? We have Hoskins School, the GO program, 60-year anniversary, man. We're going to talk about a program that nobody's probably heard about. And we're going to be speaking to these 3 gentlemen, man, who came up in a time, 60 years ago, man, where they end up becoming scholars, right? And I'm looking forward to having this conversation with them next Sunday. It's next Sunday, February 23rd, right? And that's also the 22nd. We're going to be celebrating my oldest daughter's birthday, Michelle, right? Michelle's birthday next week on Saturday. So we excited about that. And then, you know, before we move on to celebrating Gus, we've got to remember Ray Williams, right? I mean, you talk about brothers, man. You talk about Ray and Gus and Sam and and Hippo. We called Dennis. It was Hippo, and then we had Scap, which we called David Williams, Dennis Williams, Sam Williams, Ray Williams, Gus Williams, and we cannot forget their sister, Martha, who was a beautiful, beautiful spirit. She passed away some years ago, like when I was in high school. Just amazing. But Ray loved basketball. I mean, you know what? One thing about the whole Williams family, right? Let me say this about the whole Williams family. They can pick up anything and be good at it. I mean, anything. Painting, fixing, basketball, baseball, football. They could just pick it up, right? I don't know what Miss Williams had in her, but her kids can pick up something and just transform it, right? And be great at it. Not good. They could be great at it. And you see that picture right there with Miss Williams, who in October turned 100. And then now you got Gus and Ray, man, you know, playing ball, you know, playing, you know, on the heavenly courts, right? Just playing ball. And I'll say good morning to the good mayor of Mount Vernon, right? She was born and raised here in Mount Vernon. Can I say enough about Mount Vernon, right? Can I say enough about Mount Vernon? We're just a production family, man, you know, a community. We just produce and we just keep producing, right? And so, yeah, let's move on. And I want to show you, see, I think that's it. I want to show you a video, a video, and then we're going to start inviting, we got some pop-on guests, so we're going to start inviting some pop-up guests on. Hopefully they pop on, you know, and but let me show you this video real quick.
What's the coolest thing in your office there?
I don't know. I got this picture. Can you see the picture? No, you can't see the pictures behind me. But I got a picture that when I got here, it's like, hey, you know, we can put any pictures you want up in your office. And what I put up was, ironically, I said, I want a Wilt and Bill Russell picture. They said, really? Most people got Martin. I said, nah, I want to pay homage to some of these like legends, like real giants. So I have a picture. I have two pictures, Dan, and you'll appreciate this. I got Wilt and Russell, and then I have a picture. I said, I want a picture of another guy in my office, and they said, who? I said, Gus Williams. And they were like, some young guy was like, who is that? I said, son, you got to Google, man. And he's like, who is that? I said, dude, you got to Google this guy. And he's like, what do you mean, Jody? And I was like, this was one of my favorite players when I was in high school. So I got a picture of Gus Williams in my office.
That's
too.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. The great Joe Dumars talking about Gus Williams as his favorite player in high school. And it had to be nice that Joe Dumars could, you know, that Joe Dumars could actually, you know, yeah, that Joe Dumars could actually talk about Gus Williams in that light. Yeah. And yeah, let's get rolling. I see my man Harry St. John.
Have some guests supposed to have me there.
Where's Harry? Harry, you talking, man? You on?
Oh,
you
Lord.
on, man?
I'm sorry, I gotta go. Billy got me on the phone. All right. Yep.
All right. All right, Harry. What's up, man? Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm getting ready to make some breakfast before I go out here to play golf. Something that Gus and I did on a regular.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why you guys moved to Myrtle Beach.
You got that right.
Because you could play golf all year around. I mean, I think we got a golf picture of you guys, man, you and Gus. playing together, whether you guys are playing in Myrtle Beach or playing in tournaments in South Carolina, North Carolina, or, all over the place. Of course, you guys were, every year coming up for the Boys and Girls Club golf outing, every single year too as well. And I think
that was an awesome occasion that you always invited us to. Gus, I was his tag along. I was like his consigliere.
Yeah. And the thing about Gus and Ray, and again, I don't know if people knew this or not, right? But before, of course, it was basketball, right? Everybody played basketball, but before, particularly when you pick up other things, so during basketball season, although we played basketball during the summertime, we worked out different things like that, but you always should have to find something that that could take up other space. You can't just do basketball 24. But I don't know if you knew this, me, Ray, and Gus, when they had the Love 15 and they put up all the tennis courts down there near the ice skating ring, and now they got the dome there. I guess it's that big dome there.
Yeah.
It used to be tennis courts, and we used to play hours out there. I mean, just playing. A lot of people didn't know that, besides basketball, and I said it earlier, that a Williams can pick up, and I guess I could say a Moore can pick up, or St. John can pick up, whatever we pick up, right? We just know how, we eventually learn how to do it. And but we played tennis for long hours in the hot sun, man, because the conditioning, the lateral movement, reaction, and Gus and Ray was terrific at tennis. I mean, I wasn't bad myself, but we competed. I mean, we were competitive, man. And even before that, it was bowling, right? Then it was bowling, and we were bowling 24 hours a day. We would go in at 10, 11 o'clock at night and come out when the sun came up.
Yeah.
Right. We would bowl. So
you Ricky Stanley, Ricky Burton, all you guys down there.
Yeah, my brother Curtis. Yeah, all of us would go there and bowl. Doug and Kirk is still bowling.
I know, going to Vegas on a regular.
yeah. But talk to me a little bit, how you eventually, you and Gus, because me and Ricky Stanley was talking yesterday, right? And one of the things Rick said to me was, he said, Lowe's, it's not often, right, where you meet your idol, right? Or that's your idol. That's the guy you look up to. And then somewhere down the road, ultimately have a friendship. I mean, a brotherhood, right? So he was a little guy who admired Gus. And he said, like, it's not often, man, you can see somebody on television or see somebody, that you say, oh, I love that guy. I love how he does that. And I want to be like that person. Right? And then you actually meet that person and become a friend with them. So talk to me about your journey, your connection to Gus.
It started just like that. Gus was everybody's idol from Mount Vernon. He was like the Pied Piper when he came back from college, from USC in the summertime, bell bottoms and on 3rd Street. Everybody used to follow him around because he was the first guy that really made it out. So he was larger than life to us, especially us guys who played basketball, which was 95% of the young men in Mount Vernon. It was surreal to really become friends with him, because he would come home in the summertime playing 4th Street, which was like Rucker Park down in the city. All the teams would come from all over. Nicky Bonds used to bring his teams up there. You were there.
Yeah, Nicky Bonds.
Yeah. I mean,
American Gangster.
Remember, he opened up the trunk of his car and he had sneakers for every person on his team. It was crazy.
Yeah.
You had to be there, though. When Gus would come home and he had his Nikes and he tied them in the back, and that's what everybody did. You did it. I did it. And I finally got a pair of his sneakers. I'll never forget this. And I saw him, and he was, still in the league, and Scap and I were close. And I went over to the house, and I said, I saw him. I said, Gus, man, I would sure love to get a pair of sneakers. And they were the Seattle ones. They were white mesh with green on them. And he gave them to me. And the craziest thing was, Gus and I wear the same exact size. Even though he's an inch taller than me, we wear the same size. It's crazy. 13 sneakers, same pants. His shirt's a little long, longer because his arms are a little longer, but it was crazy. So when he gave me those sneakers, I was like a kid in a candy store. I just couldn't believe it. So we fast forward when he retired, and next thing you know, like you said, you transition, you play in different things, but there was a 40 and over league, the Pelham Fitz League in Harlem. And Gus said, Saint, you need to come down there and play. You got to try out 8 teams and all this, get drafted. And I did that. We hung out there. And that's where our friendship grew even more. And then we started, got me into golf, and used to take my money all the time. I'd come down to Myrtle Beach for over 28 years to meet him just for 1 week a year. I would come for Memorial Week and play golf with him for that whole week. And then when we were leaving, I'd go back home and I'd say, Gus, only 364 more days till I get to see you again. So that's the kind of relationship. And then fast forward to 2018, my wife and I moved here, transitioned. I retired after 30 years at the Transit Authority. And Gus didn't believe it because, I was down here for a week at a time. And I said, Gus, I'm going to move down. He said, nah, Saint, Miss Michelle ain't going to have it. But I relented. We came down, and I got to spend from 2018 to 2020 before he went in the hospital. Just Gus and I going all over to play golf. And it was just an epiphany to find out about the person that Gus was. Like you said, basketball does not scratch the surface for what kind of character Gus had. He was selfless, as you say. I mean, we would be in a place. I remember they retired his jersey in Seattle, and he called me to invite me to go out there. And I was driving, and I pulled my car over because he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm driving home. He said, pull over. He said, that Seattle's going to pay for 32 of my closest friends to travel to Seattle, all expenses paid, to have my jersey retired, and I want you to go. And I cried like a baby. I never forget it. So I knew I was part of his circle. And, you never expect that somebody as famous as Gus was, and still is to me, would allow you to get that close. But I became that close with him, and we became brothers, as we all are from Mount Vernon. So that's just one of the stories.
Yeah, no. I mean, Gus, like I said in my word of the week, selfless, right? If you had to put a name on the back of Gus' jersey, it would be selfless. I mean, he didn't have to be, like, I think some people were talking about it at his celebration homegoing, right? And, not many people, at that level where Gus was at that time, right? Even before he won when he was playing in college at USC, every summer, where was he? He was in Mount Vernon, right?
Yep.
And, just walking around being Gus, right? Or driving around, somebody driving him around, being Gus, right? And I don't know if people know Gus. I don't think Gus liked to drive, man. I mean,
not more than 2 hours. He says Fayetteville from Myrtle Beach is 2.5. He says, Saint, I do 2 hours. We get in the car, and 30 minutes later, he was asleep.
and so, we always see Gus was always present. I mean, all around Mount Vernon during his college years when he used to come home for the summer and play in the summer league and be at the boys club, now Boys and Girls Club, playing with us in the gym, working out in the gym and just playing with us like a normal, like we all normal, but we're thinking like, Gus is an All-American in college, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be here, right? Then he gets drafted, right? He gets drafted, plays with the Golden State Warriors. Where was Gus? Summertime, he was in Mount Vernon, I mean, he's playing with us in the gym. He's playing with us in the playground. I mean, and the same with Ray. He didn't go into college. Where was he in the summertime? He was back here in Mount Vernon and 4th Street Playground, right? I mean, or wherever we were playing before he got drafted. Willis Reed, where was he at? Hartley Park with Willis Reed. I mean, he could have went with Willis to the Garden or wherever, but he didn't have. I'm going to play my game, man. I got a game, in the summer league, and here's Gus wins the NBA championship, right? Where was Gus during the summertime? He was in Mount Vernon, right? I mean, it's just that word selfless just sticks out.
Listen, you hit it right on the head, because Rosie, like you said, who turned 100 years old on October 30th. I remember when Gus was living in Myrtle Beach after he retired, he would come up to see Rosie at the nursing home in Mount Vernon. And then when she got moved to White Plains, he would always come up and call me, and I pick him up from the airport. That's how selfless he was. At the time, he had his 3 other brothers in Mount Vernon, 4 other brothers in Mount Vernon, but he would come up from South Carolina to make sure he would take care of his mom, all of her needs and what have you. So that's how selfless he was. He traveled 700 miles at a drop of a dime, even though his brothers were less than a quarter mile away from where his mom was. So that's what Gus did. That was just part of his DNA. Yeah. And one of the things Gus knows that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. Now, they say that Gus averaged 28.6 points or 8 points a game in that 79 series. This is the one thing that sticks in his craw. And every time we got together, whether it was here at my house or at Billy Cole's house and watch the games, he would say, I scored 145 points in 5 games. You divide that and tell me what's that average? And what is that? 29 points a game. You know it.
Yeah, I know it. I seen it. Like they said back in the day, I seen it.
he couldn't figure out. To his dying day, he was like, I just can't figure out how that average wasn't 29. So it's a great accomplishment. And Gus is, like you said, selfless. He just took people for their worth, what they, what he saw in them, and he knew if you were a good person or not. If you did something that Gus didn't care about, and you were on his wrong side, you was on there for almost forever.
Yeah. And you know what? I hadn't seen that side, because in front of me and others, he was Gus. I remember we were playing golf at the Pelham Country Club. So we was in the Boys and Girls Club tournament. And so we drive up to the first hole, and the caddy's on the cart. So the caddy jumps off and he runs up the hill, right? Like, to watch where the balls are going.
Right.
And Gus said, "Hey man, hey Lowe's." I was like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" He said, "There goes my idol right there." I'm like, "Who?" He said, "The caddy that just went up the hill." He said, "That's David Gray." I was like, "The David Gray?" Because I'd never seen David Gray play. And I always heard about David Gray, but he talked with such admiration for David. Like we're talking about Gus. That's how he was talking about David Gray. It was like it meant something to him, to say that, yeah, that's my idol, man. I want to be like him when I grew up, man. I mean, like that's kind of who Gus was, man. He admire you.
For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. And it was just awesome. Just an awesome situation, man, with Gus and stuff like that, man. Just wonderful.
I just want to say this: you were my idol too, and I'm not trying to toot no horns or anything, but you and I are the same height. We're about the same age. I think you're a few months older than me, And every time he used to come back in the summertime, we'd be in the boys' club and that left-hand jumper. And I always wanted to cover the toughest guy in the gym, whether it was you or Gus or Ray or whatever. And you would shoot that sweet jumper lows, and I'd be right on it. I'd be right here like this. And I'm like, and you would get it off, and I'm like, how the heck does he get that off? And it was because you were a pro. And you, Gus, Rodney, all the guys that came for us, you carried yourself in a different way. And we're so proud of what you represented for Mount Vernon. So not just Gus, you as well was somebody I idolized.
Wow, I appreciate that, man. And you know, I like to think, because Rudy and I at Gus's homegoing celebration, we were standing there talking, right? And I don't know if many people knew this, was that when I got drafted, I was waiting for the draft, and I flew down to California because you remember Mr. Brinker, John Brinker?
Yes.
He's the recreation commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
And so his son represented me. His son, John Brinker, he oversees Michael Jackson's to this day, to all Michael Jackson stuff, even in death. You know, he still has all the catalogs, all that stuff, but he works between him and his family, the Jackson family, to manage all the things so the same. He was my agent, and I flew to California, right? And he said, you need. I said, John, I gotta go somewhere. I need to work out, right? So I end up. You're gonna enjoy this.
Okay.
So I end up. He says, they always playing that, and John right now today is the biggest contributor to UCLA basketball, right? And so John says, hey, man, I can drop you off at UCLA. They always playing, right? So he drops me off at UCLA. And so I walk in the arena, the top floor of the arena, I guess the wooden, whatever it was. And I walk in, and you know how you walk out to the arena and you look down and you see in the corner over there, they had a full court and people were playing. So I step into the arena and I look to my right and I see Ray. I said, that guy looked like Ray, right? So I look and there's Ray, right? So I walk over, I said, yo, Ray, what's up, man? He's like, yo, what you doing here, man? I was like, I'm waiting for the draft. Like that. The draft is gonna be in a few days down here with my agent. He said, "Oh man, we can ready to play ball, man." And then behind him, Gus walks out.
Oh Lord.
Right, and so I'm looking at Gus. We hugging, like, "What's up?" Like that. And then I look up, and there's Rudy.
Wow.
So now we go down to play. So now it's the four of us, and to take anybody else that wanted to play.
That's it. It was over.
And then remember Rocket Rod Foster?
Yes.
And all those UCLA players and all those UCLA pro players to come. Mark Eaton.
Big
right?
old
Yeah, big giant Eaton. All them players was out there. All them players was out there. And we go down the floor and we dusting them jokers off. Everybody want to know who. I guess they knew Gus because he was with USC.
Right.
And then they had been coming down there to play, so they knew Ray. And of course, Rudy had moved. Rudy was down there, and coming from overseas and stuff like that. And then I show up, and they were like, "Yeah, we all from Mount Vernon," and man, we were tearing them guys up, man. I mean,
that's what we love, man. That's what we love.
We were tearing them up, man. I mean, literally, man. And then. And we had no fear. Big guys, I don't know what that meant, big guys. But I mean, I'll never forget Gus gave me a pass. Gus gave me a pass on the fast break. It's like on the fast break. Mm-hmm. And, Mark Eaton wasn't, all that mobile.
Mobile, right.
Right. So I caught the ball and I just went, I saw him and I just, like he wasn't even there. I was just like, took off. And Gus said, go do it, man. I said,
That is great. That's so funny because I had a story similar to that when I went to USC back in '77. Alex English was graduating, and I was coming in, and they had Dunleavy was on the team, Cedric Hodges. We had a kid named Zam Fredericks, the leading scorer in the nation, and Kenny Reynolds, Mike Doyle from Mount St. Michael, and they called me to come in and play pickup because McGuire didn't let walk-ons try out for the team, but somehow I got in there. And like you said, it was a big guy, Alex. I didn't know who he was. He was a tall, skinny dude. So, I'm from Mount Vernon. We don't back down from nobody.
That's
so
right.
He kicks Alex down the court, and I go up to block his shot. The next thing you know, I'm on the floor. You know how the cartoon commercials are. You're looking up, and the birds are tweeting above your head. And I sit up, right? And I thought my nose was broken. And all the guys, they look at me and say, yo, man, what is wrong with you? I said, what do you mean? They said, that's Flick, man. He's getting ready to get drafted in the NBA. Alex English's nickname was Flick because of the way he shot the ball.
Yeah. He used to flick that shot.
He's a ball player like me. I said, we don't back down from nobody. They said, man, you got a lot of heart. You can play with us anytime. But that's what you did when you came from Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
You didn't back down from nobody.
Yeah. People used to ask how, when I was a freshman, he said, man, why you not afraid to play against the guy? Because I played against Norm and all these guys, from Cal Macy, all those guys back in the day, man. I said, look, man, if you playing against Gus, think about it. I'm competing against Gus and Ray and Earl and Rudy, I mean,
Ples.
you got to think Scap was good.
Yep.
Benny Harrell was good. Jeffrey White was good. I mean, all the guys between the South Side and North Side, Mike Evans, you could just think of guys, Buggy. I mean, guys who could play.
Yep.
Guys could play, and we had great coaches. We had great coaches back then, man. So it was just awesome, man. But I had to hammer it on. Eaton couldn't get up. He couldn't get his hand up fast enough, man. I was like, by the time he got his hand up, I had dunked on him and moved on.
Little did he know.
He just saw a little guy, man. He said, I'm about to block this shot, man. Before I was going, Gus said, go. Like that, I was like, took off.
That is so true.
Yeah, Gus was so selfless, man. I mean,
There's another story I could tell you. When he retired, his jersey got retired in Seattle, they gave everybody a replica championship ring. So, of course, I had a couple of them.
I didn't get one. I don't know where I was at that time. I don't know if I was in Albany or something. I don't know where I was at.
Yeah. So we get back to New York, and we're playing in the golf course down here called Panthers Run. And I go in the bathroom, and I have to wash my hands and take the ring off, and I put it on the side of the sink. Wash my hands, dry my hands, leave the ring in the bathroom. I come out, Gus is looking at clothes and stuff. So all of a sudden, this guy comes out the bathroom and says, excuse me, did somebody leave an NBA championship ring in the bathroom? I said, yeah, that's mine. The guy said, you played in the NBA? I said, no. I said, you see that guy over there? Now, Gus, you know how he was, so unassuming. I said, that guy over there, that's the Wizard. I said, he played for Seattle. He said, that's the Wizard? All of a sudden, everybody's. And Gus, he was like, he was gracious. He signed autographs and everything else, but he didn't want to be, noticed. He's always a guy that you will not notice in a room, except for that $1 million smile and the way he treated you. He was selfless for sure.
Yeah. Hey, where Hugo at, man?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Where's Hugo? There he is.
Yeah, I'm here.
You being daddy, I see.
Yeah, absolutely. But little fella, he plays playoff game with Kelly Dickinson tomorrow. And as you know, commitment is important. They had the varsity had a 7 a.m. practice.
Oh, yeah.
And so my little guy wanted to stay some extra time. They play against Ridgewood High School tomorrow at 1 p.m. And you've probably seen this story the kid that plays on Ridgewood, his name is Jimmy Jackson. He has a couple of more treatments for cancer.
Yeah, I heard.
You
Yeah.
heard about, yeah. So it was very interesting. I got introduced to the young man because that was our first game against him, and he scored 30 against us.
Wow.
It's just after he had chemo treatment, and so that hit all the major news media. ESPN picked it up, and now they're doing a documentary, and they have beat us the first game. I don't know if we don't make excuses, but I think it was just too emotional. When you're playing against this guy, he's running all over the place, and he's shooting one-handers, and it was just amazing. So we play against them tomorrow. So we had to have some extra practice today.
Right.
But tomorrow is payback.
Yeah. You said it's payback. Well, you ain't playing, so I don't know how big the payback gonna be, but
no, but the stands will be full. It's highly advertised and marketed. The tickets only, and then now more importantly, they found out that I have NBA association. So I talked to the young man, his parents, after ESPN interviewed him. I said, "Who's your best player in the NBA?" He said, "Peyton Pritchard from the Celtics." Oh, I said, "Oh, we'll put something together for you." Because as you know, Tiny played with them and they won. And when I say Tiny, Nate Tiny Archibald. He played with Boston.
right.
Currently, Sam Cassell is one of the assistant coaches. Al Horford, the veteran on the team, he's part of an organization, Dominican organization I'm involved with. And so we're putting together where he can meet Peyton.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They'll give him a gift bag, have some time with him. Yeah, and so with the power of prayer and people let it be known, besides the competition, what his dream is.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So well, Harry was talking about how he connected with Gus. What's your story?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, Gus and I are not only business partners, as you know, Lowe's. The way we got together, he used to come down similar to Harry's story, and you know that story. Jackie Knowles was running the PAL in the Bronx, and he had a partner, agent, that worked with him with Gus Enterprises.
Right.
So Gus, yourself, the McCray brothers, all different pros would come to the PAL after the regular program was over, 8, 9 o'clock at night. And as you know, Lowe's, we're there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. Balling out.
That's right.
Balling out.
That's right.
I was just with Jackie at a Lehman College basketball game because one of the Mount Vernon players plays for Lehman College. I told him I'd come and see him. And Jackie finally got a cell phone, man, because usually you say, "Jackie, how I get in touch with you?" "Oh, man, you got to call me on my house phone, man." And when he pulled out the cell phone, I said, "Oh, my God, a miracle. You got a cell phone?"
No, yeah, 100%, Lowe's, because Jackie and he still, thank God his son is telling him that this is the 21st century. You can't be opening up that black book with the pages are falling out. And you got your glasses on, trying to find a number.
Right.
But that's how Gus and our relationship started.
Mm-hmm. And then you're down at the boys club when we used to play with the alumni, right? I mean, holding up the game, man, while you get rest, man. Hold on. Gus be like, Hugo, come on, man. Hugo, can we play? You know, and he be like, hold on, man. I was trying to tell my guy to move over there and move over there. And you said to pick on him over there. Who calls plays in a pickup game, man? Come on. He trying to get his rest in.
No. Lowe's. In addition to the rest, we needed a 20-second timeout, man. You know, you guys are running all over us. Yeah. So the whole gym was like, what is wrong with this guy? What's his name? Hugo. There's no timeout. How can you call a 20-second timeout, man?
That was used to be like Jim Brown. He would be slow getting over there, and as soon as he get the ball, he'd take off.
Yeah.
You know, but more importantly, so many relationships develop beyond basketball from there. I know I introduced him to quite a bit of our good friends. You know, one guy in particular, it was Jim Donald, and if you guys remember the Mark supermarket chain, they were at its peak. And they had one in Mount Vernon among the 190 in the tri-state area. So Jim Donald, you'd be surprised, these corporate guys, they love basketball. And so Jim met Gus, and as Harry was saying, along with yourself, you'll never know Gus was a basketball player. He shook his hand, hi, how are you, Gus? But Jim was more excited than Gus was. And they developed a great relationship. So Jim, chairman of Pathmark, company is $1 billion supermarket chain. He says, Hugo, I want you and Gus to come and play basketball with us at the racquetball club. I said, all right, Jim, let me check with the Wizard. And the Wizard said, Hugo, you serious? This guy, you know, because Jim was a little short white guy, we didn't know what to expect from him and his other 4 guys. And he, not only that, what became a concern, he wanted to play 6 o'clock in the morning. And we said, Jim, where are you? You know, where's this racquetball? Rumson, New Jersey. Rumson? Are you kidding me? I mean, the Wizards in Westchester, I'm up here near here, and we have to get to you at 6 in the morning? He says, Hugo, that's what we do as a living in the business that we in. We start early. I said, well, we have to leave like 3 in the morning. And that's going to South Jersey. So I had to convince the Wizard to go down and let's play against these guys because, you know, we do a lot of business with him. And this is what he wants to do. But the Wizard was the type of guy, he says, all right, come on, Hugo, let's go do this. You know, so we get down there. We said, Jim, these your 4 other guys? He says, yeah. He goes, but we're gonna change the rules. Change the rules, Jim? Okay. What do you mean by change the rules? Well, Gus is gonna play with us. I'm like, wait a minute, Jim. We came all the way down here, and you're gonna put him on your team? You know. I said, you know, we have our own team. And so we went and we played, but more importantly, we went to his house afterwards, Jim, because Jim's house is right next to the boss. You know who the boss is in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Springsteen, Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
The Rumson is a very, very high-end area. So we went to lunch afterwards. Again, we started 3 in the morning. You know. And Harry, you're right, 100% right. As soon as Gus hit the car after the game, he fell right to sleep. You know.
Why you talking to him?
Yeah, he says just put on his famous female artist, Aretha Franklin.
Aretha, that's
Franklin.
it, baby.
Yeah.
Say a little prayer for you.
I said, Wizard, it's only like 10 minutes. He says, yeah, but put her on. and he just fell right to sleep.
Every time.
So we had lunch, and so Jim, being you got to Google him, Jim Donald, Starbucks. So Jim had asked us during lunch, Gus, how well do you and Hugo know Howard Schultz? At the time, Howard Schultz, owner of the Seattle SuperSonics, and hold on, I'm getting some instruction from the little guy. He's telling me to move up closer. Hold on a second. What's going on, Jim? Oh, you dropped something. I thought it was direct. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. So Jim says, how well do you know Howard Schultz? I said, we were just sitting courtside with him because Gus, we always go to the games when we're out in that area. And I said, well, Jim, Gus and I are business guys. We're not just good friends. We make this happen. This is part of the brokerage in the deal. So I'll give you the short version of it. We got in touch with Howard. There's Jim Donald. He was formerly the first guy to open up a super center for Walmart. He's interested in joining your company. He says, all right, give me some time, Hugo. Let me see who this guy is. The short version of it, they met at, I forgot what year it was. But anyway, they met in the Hamptons. Jim resigned as the chairman of Pathmark and became the CEO of Starbucks.
Wow.
So that was all 8,000 Starbucks. And so that was just one introduction with the Wizard. Yeah, and then that's how that business started. And then, I don't know if you remember Lowe's, Ira Keeping. Mm-hmm. You remember Ira? So Ira is in the food business. And I said, Gus, we have a great opportunity to get into the food business. So we started a company called KK&W. Ira's last name, Keeperman. My last name, King. And the Wizard was William, KK&W. So they told me to go out before we formed this company. Ira says, look, come meet with me at my office, which is in Highland Mills in Orange County. And I says, here we go. I said, what time, Ira? He says, about 7 a.m. I'm like, wow, this is how the food industry works. You guys get up very, very early. The Wizard, he says, Hugo, I don't like these 9-to-5 type of jobs,
So true.
He says, but I'll go. I said, well, this is a great opportunity. So we go up to Ira's office, and he's probably listening now. I says, Ira, what do you do? He says, I'm in the food business. And he says, you guys, Gus is very successful at what he does. He has a great personality. He'll be a great fit for the entertainment part of the business. So Gus loved that part of the description, because he doesn't like the 9-to-5 business. And so Ira, and you could probably listen to a podcast I did about 10 years ago about how successful we are as a network at the company. And so Ira said, Hugo, Gus, you played in the NBA, Gus. Hugo, you got a lot of relationships, do all these different golf outings, bring all these celebrities. And no matter who you are, you got to eat. He got our attention. Gus didn't learn that at USC. I didn't learn that in college. They didn't tell us about the food business or opportunities with these industries that never go out of business. And so that's how we started in the food business. And from there, he had pulled out about 30 checks. And the average check was about $18,000. So Gus and I, we pulled up our chairs and says, tell us how this food business works.
You got my full attention.
And we said, this happens with this type of frequency? Yeah, he said, yes. Because we went to his office was in his house at the time, way before the pandemic.
Right.
People had to work from home. So we went downstairs. His office was in the basement. He had this little fat secretary, big file cabinet, and that was it. And that's how
Wow.
Gus and I got into the pulpits. So Gus loved his part because we were set up around the country, and all we did was play golf, and that was great for Gus. Because I'm loving this because we're flying all over the place. Yeah. Gus is sitting on the plane snoring, and sitting next to me, and we were just having a great time. But one thing about the Wizard, as you guys were talking about, he was always calm, never used any profanity. Ira, everywhere we flew around the country, he loved to gamble. He's looking at I never witnessed this in my life. When you're traveling on these different highways around the country, he's looking up for where he can go and watch dog races. I'm like, all right, it's like 10 in the morning. He says, yeah, but this is what I do. He just loved gambling.
He loved gambling. Gus loved golf.
There you go. And then you know what they start calling me?
What?
The Monsignor.
Yeah, that's why I was telling people. I said, look, if you were Hugo, right? You getting preached to. I mean, you just no way around it. I mean, you getting the daily word from Hugo. You don't need the book, the daily word. You got Hugo with you.
Listen, Hugo gives you the philosophical angle from all the things that you would talk about during the day, and he would put it in such a way that you couldn't argue with it because he knew what he was talking about, and he made sure that you understood because his pronunciation was always on point. Them educated brothers, so you always had to listen. Hugo knew what he was talking about.
Yeah,
well, and here's the thing, Harry. To your point, when I have the Wizard with me, he had no choice. After I put Aretha Franklin on, I'll click over to gospel music, and he knows Aretha loves gospel music as well. She's sung a lot of great hits. And then Gus got a chance to understand the power of prayer. Because I said, Gus, let me tell you about faith, to your point, Harry. And he said, faith? I said, when you take that jump shot, don't you have faith that thing's going to go over that rim and go through the net? I said, that's called faith. That's called, and I said, in basketball, it's called confidence. But in our world, as Christians, it's called faith. Gus says, he's just listening. He's always a good listener, even if he didn't agree. But he had no choice. And I said, Gus, we don't know who's flying this plane. Right? You exercise faith, this guy's going to get us there. That's called faith. He's like, Hugo, come on, man. He had a little opposition at first. And that's just the same thing, Gus. We're going to the car rental, and we're going to get the tank is already full, but if we need gas, we don't know if that guy's putting gas in the car or watermelon. I said, you exercise your faith again. I said, we go to the, and he said, Hugo, come on, man. At first people always have resistance when you talk about something totally different from the norm. And I said, Gus, Jim Donald, when he got the job there in Seattle, we stayed with him. And I said, see that switch we put the light on? You exercise your faith thinking that light's going to come on. That's called faith. So, my little tidbits, and I was just basically planting seeds in his subconscious mind. And believe it, at the end, he believed in God. He understood what God represents and how he died on the cross for us. So I had to go through the progression because, we don't push our religion on anyone, but we share it when we can. because that is our responsibility. And Gus got it. So that's one part of the story I love at the end.
Yeah, because I figure like it's impossible to be with me. Is it possible to be with me and or Hugo? And again, we don't push it. We're not pushy people. We're not like, hey man, you need to get you need to get God in your life. Number one, you got to be an example of what a godly person looks like, how they act, how they respond, in terms of how you carry yourself like that, and that's very, very important. For me, with all my friends, I mean, I'm never pushed anything on Harry, right? But Harry knows me, right? He knows me. He knows I'm a man of faith. He know I love God. I love the Word. I love family, right? And but it's not so much what you say. Sometimes it's like how you respond and how you act. Whether people really, if God is real or not, because people can talk about God and be just as mean and nasty, but when you really represent God, I mean, people will know it, and remembering Gus, man, he didn't say anything, but when I'm talking to him, he's like, but he's listening. Like Hugo say, man, one of the powers of our success, right, as in Mount Vernon, was our ability to listen. Mm-hmm. We may not say anything, right? There go Lamont Radcliffe. We may not say anything, but we will be listening, right? Yeah. And we're gonna miss the wizard, man. And many people don't know, like they don't know that as we in this all-star weekend, right, that Gus was an NBA all-star twice. I mean, and I've never been more proud to watch games and see Gus, in terms of this all-star weekend that he got to participate in the all-star weekend, right? And that's a measure of great success, when you talk about Gus. And I had the privilege of, competing against Gus. I was with the Clippers. He was with the, he was with the Sonics. I'll tell you a funny. Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story. So when Gus came home from college, right, and I'm like starting to hit my stride. I'm starting to get better. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like I could compete with anybody. So Gus comes back, and we at Northside Boys and Girls Club, and so like we're playing. So Gus is guarding me, right? So I'm coming down like confident, chest out, doing, got my thing, and so, and I look, and everybody starts running that way, like everybody I'm where y'all going? I got the ball, and I look down, I don't have the ball. I did not have the ball. I was like, where the ball go? Gus had taken the ball and going down, and that crazy layup, right? He go up like he gonna dunk it. He go up like he gonna ready to slam it, just drop it in like that. He do one of those. Oh man, that ball was gone, man. But and I think about like, I don't know if you guys out there who are listening, you got any comments about Gus? Shoot them. This is interactive, man. Any questions, comments? It said, remember being the manager of the Knights. It says Gus would always give me pointers. I mean, that's Gus, right? If Dan Aronson was on here, Dan tried out the same time Gus tried out, that in the senior year. And Dan will tell you, he said, look, I wasn't very good, but Gus made me look good, right? And he said, that's how he fed me every kind of way, and I was making shots and layups and stuff like that. And they was like, people, when he made the team, people were shocked when Dan made the team. But he said, Gus made me look so good. He made me look so great. You know, he said, nah, I didn't play no more after that. but that's just who Gus, you know, that's who Gus was, you know, and you know, man, he's just Gus is awesome, man. And seeing him playing against, I spoke to Isaiah the other day, man, you know, and, you know, talking about, yeah, he competed against Gus in the All-Star game, and yeah, it was cool. Everybody admired Gus, man. I mean, you know, and it was just awesome to have him, you know, as we remember him, man. You know,
hey, think about back in the day, Lowe's, when Gus was playing his team. They never got a chance to go to the dance because it was out there when UCLA was going through that run. So Gus used to tell me, he said, "Saint, I never got to the big dance because UCLA was winning all those games back then." Mm-hmm. So I think he said he lost maybe, I don't know, 5 games in 4 years or whatever it was, but it wasn't good enough. But that's how he carried himself in life. I mean, when we would be on the golf course, I'd hit a bad shot, and Gus would say, "Saint, forget about that. It's gone. It's over with. Remember, you know, how it felt, but now you got to go and prepare for the next shot." And that's how I learned to understand that as you go on in life, you at one point and something might happen, but then you leave that behind and you move forward because there's always something on the horizon. And Gus, you know, he burned that into my psyche. And Ray did the same thing. He used to tell me, he said, "Saint, don't play for somebody else's game. Play your game." He said, you know, it's all about tempo and forgetting about that last shot that you hit and going to the next shot. And, you know, I lived in Monday Lane, and like you said, there's so many famous people from Mount Vernon. Denzel Washington and I grew up 2 houses apart. We're still friends to this day. And when Gus got sick, you know, Denzel called me and he said, "Get in your car, you know, drive up to Raleigh, Durham, and I'm going to let you know where you're staying and what have you." And I stayed up there in the hospital with my wife for 3 weeks before COVID hit to watch over Gus. And, you know, it's just amazing to think that somebody like him would befall to what has taken him out of this life. But while he was here, Gus loved to have a good time. He shared it with everybody that came in contact with him. He never had a bad word for anybody. Like you said, he loved to gamble. He gambled on everything. Him and Billy, every weekend, college games, pro games, bowling, tennis, racquetball, tiddlywink, ping pong. You name it, he would gamble on it. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to, you know, you go back down a little bit down, you see Gus doing his, you know, his community service stuff, you know, getting out there, you know. And one thing Gus did, man, he loved the Boys and Girls Club, man. I mean, you know, he said, "Man, I'll be there," you know, but you got to go back to you between Gus and Ray there, you know, back in the day. I mean,
wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Gilbert.
And, they go Gil and Bird, and
Look,
I think that's
with the trophy, George.
That's George, and next to Ray, isn't that
who is that?
Isn't that Ludacris's dad?
I'm not sure.
Wayne Bridges.
You might be right.
And I see Cheatham back there, Wayne Bridges, Chuck Wilcox, all them guys. Wow. Barry Mitchell, you know, back in the day. And then, you know, remember Boy of the Year, we had Alvin Crosby, you know, and there go Gus back there in the back. Look at his face. Everybody looking at the camera, smiling, look where Gus is at.
Right on the Trojan.
Yeah. He looking down. You know, he ain't one for the spotlight. You know.
Good bird.
And you know, he used to come and present the jackets at the Boys and Girls Club. You know, at the Boys and Girls Club golf outing every year. That's Dan right there, who he gave Dan a jacket because Dan, you know, loved the Boys Club. You know, and you know, of course, Rick Ferrantino.
Yeah.
In the picture at the top. You know, yeah. I mean, you know, just seeing some of these wonderful pictures. I can even go back. Let's see. I'll give you you're gonna enjoy this one here. Let's see.
Well, I'll tell you a story.
They're going to Summer League.
Okay.
Mike Hammett.
Yes, sir.
How about Golden State? You know, all the pictures at Golden State.
You know, when he got drafted, that team had won the NBA championship the year that they drafted him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when he came onto that team, they had just won the championship the year prior to being.
Oh yeah, with Rick Barry and them. I mean, that was nobody in the history. I don't think in that year anybody thought, right, that Golden State was going to win the championship that year with Nate Thurman and Rick Barry. Rick Barry, I mean, you talking about ungodly numbers. I mean, Rick Barry was putting up some ungodly numbers back then, you know, and you know, and Gus came after that, the year after that.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, I mean, but man, when Gus, you know, somebody mentioned Mr. Olsen. Mr. Olsen was amazing back then. You know, I meant to say I remember Gus stealing the ball from someone in New York, in New York City, stepping over half court and hitting a long three. It said then he did it again, not a layup, but 2 back-to-back steals and threes. I remember that too. You know, Gus had nicknames. So his first nickname, I don't know if everybody remember, when he was in high school, they called him Spider. They thought he had 8 arms. You know, that was his nickname, Spider. You know, because he was stealing the ball his senior year, stealing that ball left and right. Man, if you blink, I used to tell people, look, if you're in a pickup game and you were Gus, I said, before the game even started, I said, look, if you see Gus just standing there next to his man, don't throw it to his man. do not throw the ball, because it's something like he had this spider sense. And before when it releases out of your hands, he's already in the lane already, and that's gone.
But he didn't only have it. You know, Ray had it too. You remember when Ray was on the Knicks? Him and Michael Ray were the 1 and 2 guard combination in the NBA. And Ray used to, every time he used to bring that ball down and you turn your back to him, and he would take that ball as you make your turn, and he'd be going the other way.
Oh yeah. You know why? Because we watched, you know, some of the greatest. Well, Walt Frazier was the greatest.
Yes.
You know, timing your dribble and in between dribbles steal the ball. So I think Ray and Gus picked up on that. And then what Walt had too that was great, anticipation. Right? You throw that ball midway and Walt already got that ball and he gone. And I think Gus picked up on those things and Ray picked up on those things. I picked up on those things, you know, because we watch basketball like that. We watch players like that, you know. But Ray was a unique player in his own. Gus was a unique player. I mean, I'll never forget that one time that somebody sent me a picture from USC. And it was really Gus. He was moving, but he was like Flash. It's like a blur at the back of it. It's like his feet disappeared. He was moving so fast in the shutter of the camera, you know. And I was like, man, he's like moving like the Flash, you know. But he had nicknames, man. In Greenberg, in the Summer League in Greenberg, he was just simply called the Man.
and
Pack Jim,
with the man. The announcers on the court with the mic.
Yeah, Yeah.
had a nickname.
Yeah, the man. He was just the man, And I never forget. He hurt his wrist in the semifinals. He hurt his wrist, and then the next night for the championship game, he scored 40 with his left hand. I mean, for me, that was impressive. And it says somebody said here, is that where you got your wraparound passes from? I was just, hey, after you seen Earl of Pearl Monroe, Walt Frazier, Pete Maravich, Oscar was a very fundamentally sound person. He's just fundamentally sound. But, we saw Walt, back in the day. We saw Walt and Earl and Pete Maravich and that ball handling creativity, man. After a while, you just stop making up your own stuff, man. After a while, I got Tiny. Then Tiny came along. He said, man, I grew up as a club kid, as a teen in the early 80s. It was awesome watching Gus, Ray, Scooter, and Rodney Lowe's play in the NBA at the same time. I had a sense of pride knowing that there were Boys and Girls Club kids from Mount Vernon like myself. Yeah, man. Kevin Bunch, yeah. He said, I remember, I remember Ray was at Isaiah's wheelchair basketball game, and there was 4 seconds left on the clock, and Isaiah shot the ball from his wheelchair and scored from half court, and Ray went nuts. That's literally, honestly, Harry, when I didn't get to see Ray, when he was in the hospital or anything.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. They weren't allowing people to come visit at certain times. And I didn't get it. I called several times to go visit, and I didn't get to see Ray. But I was thinking like that, if that was my last moment with Ray, right? And I'm going to have to find that video, because I know my son Losey, Isaiah's playing at the county center, right? And there's 4 seconds left on the clock. And Ray is yelling, like this is not Ray Williams, the superstar, Ray Williams, the New York Knicks, Minnesota. Ray is yelling like Isaiah's his son, he's yelling, go Isaiah, go! Ray, right? Yeah. So that wouldn't be Gus, by the way. That wouldn't be Gus. So Isaiah gets the ball, he's dribbling up, and he gets to half court, and Losey, when he cuts on the video, his phone camera, and he starts videotaping it, right? And Isaiah's dribbling it up as fast as he can. He takes the ball from half court and he throws it, right? And that ball hit nothing but net. And Ray jumped out the stands, and he's beating on Isaiah.
I feel sorry for Isaiah.
Man, my wife was like, "What in the world is going?" But that is Ray.
Yep.
Ray outwardly loved life, right? Gus inwardly loved life.
For sure. I have a story about Ray. I did see him before he left, when he was in the hospital down at Montefiore, and he gave me some good words of encouragement. But one time when he was not doing well, he's down in Ocala, Florida, and he said, Saint, come on by. He said, we can play golf or we can go fishing. You know how the Williams boys love to go fishing. Gus used to keep a little pocket rod in the back of our golf bag. So when we would be playing on the course down here, if it was a holdup, he would take out his thing, pass his line, boom, he hit something and pull it back in. So I'm down there in Florida visiting my father-in-law, called Ray up and said, yeah, come on down, Saint. I drove down to his house. I go to his house, literally, Lowe's. Ray had golf bags lined. I opened the door. He had a row of golf bags on one side of the wall and fishing poles on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
So he said, Saint, what you want to do? You want to go fishing or you want to play golf? I said, whatever you want to do, Ray. So we went out and played. We went fishing. We went underneath the pier. And sometimes I guess that I'm not a big fisherman, but Gus, taught me to fish. But we go underneath this pier, and we sitting there, and Ray, you know how Ray is big, never lifted weight, but he was like the
yeah.
I mean, so we sitting there and we get some beer, and I don't drink. I think Ray must have drank about 18 beers. We sat out there. Some days you can catch him right away. Some days you don't get him. We sat all day and didn't catch a fish, and he drank every one of the beers. But we had a great time just reminiscing about being from Mount Vernon.
Right.
And that's the thing that connects us all. That when we get together, we have all of these stories that we can go back on about when we were kids. I don't know if that's me.
No, I don't think it's you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we have all these things that we can reminisce around and be proud of and just let people know that 4 square miles, 1 high school, 70,000 people, and there are so many people that admire what Mount Vernon has produced. Like you said, there's a book this thick that has all of the characters that came out of. Look at you, Lowe's, and who's that? Tony, Fred, Sam, Gus, Rick. Who's that in the back? Big man, Mike, your brother,
Hilton Armstrong,
Curtis,
Mike Young, Ricky Burton, Tony Taylor.
That's an all-star crew right there.
Yeah.
Wow. That's unbelievable. And those Mount Vernon. I mean, we Mount Vernon.
You got Turn over there, Gary Johnson.
Mount Vernonites are just, to me, I'll give you another quick story, Lowe's. I'm in the bowling alley in this league I'm in on Tuesday. I'm sitting there bowling, practicing, and no, it wasn't even another day. Anyway, person leaves, 2-3 more people come up. So the guy's standing next to me, and I have on a shirt and it says, from Mount Vernon, represent Foursquare. He said, "What you know about Mount Vernon?" And it's a white guy. I said, "I'm from Mount Vernon." He said, "I'm from Mount Vernon too." I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Where'd you live?" He said, "Fulton Avenue, 4th Street." I said, "I lived at Fulton Avenue, 4th Street too." I said, "What address?" He said, "I lived at 160 East 4th Street." I said, "I lived at 160 East 4th Street Hill." He said, "I lived in 1B. I said, "I lived in 2C. Can you believe here in Myrtle Beach, a guy comes in with his wife, his son, and himself, and he's from the same hometown, lived in the same building I lived in." And then I said, "Well, I'm really from Monday Lane. I lived across the street from Mount St. Michael High School." I said, I was from Denzel. He said, "Monday Lane?" He said, "My business, my shop, mine and my brother's body shop was on Monday Lane." I said, "Danny?" He said, "No, Tommy. He was the brother of a guy who owned a body shop right next to my house on Monday Lane, here in Myrtle Beach, bowling." What's in that? Somebody from Mount Vernon. We're all over the place. Look at that picture. 3 distinguished gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben. Sharp.
Yeah.
The ambassador. Gus introduced me to so many people over the years, Lowe's. I mean, I'm friends with Lawrence Taylor, first name basis, Ed Too Tall Jones, Cornelius Bennett, Thurman Thomas, all these guys that I've met through Gus. And the thing that's common about all these guys is they're regular people as you and I are, but they have a special talent like you and Gus had, and all the guys who made it to the pinnacle of being a professional athlete. It's something that people take for granted these days because they always talk about, oh, this guy is that and that guy is he's a bum. What they don't realize is that you guys are in the top 1% of athletes to make it to that level. So they have no clue what you had to endure to get to where you were. And I my hat goes off to you and all the guys that have accomplished such great feats, Lowe's. And you another one that's selfless. You always give back, and you've done it your whole life, your career, your family. So I really appreciate you doing this for Gus.
Yeah, thanks, Harry, man. And got a chance to go see Gus get his jersey retired at USC. Yeah, we flew down there and checked that out, man. Yeah, it looked like Hugo came back.
Yes.
We about to get off. Hugo, any final words, man, before we get off here?
Yeah, yeah. Real quick, I don't know how much time I had. I wanted to share another quick story.
Yeah, share that story, man.
Okay, I'm sorry for the delay, but Gus, he says, Hugo, do you see that guy that in 1979 as we were warming up, the ball boy? I says, okay, yeah. Who is he? Who is it? He says, that's Rick Wells. It's important how you have to respect everybody. I says, oh, he told me this years later. Rick Wells wound up becoming not just the ball boy, but the president of the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, and finally, Rick currently to this day is the CEO of the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
So Gus was telling me how important it is, and because Rick always sends for Gus when they have the different golf outings, like Lenny's Wilkins golf outing, Jacob Green, Rick Wells put that all together.
Nat Moore.
Yep. So he basically was not just the wizard, but when he felt comfortable around you, and there was some trust there, as Harry and he opens up. And because all the folks that we introduced him to, because I see Judge Wood, he didn't come on, but I introduced him to the judge, and he was so nice. When the judge's two sons had birthdays, Gus would go to their homes and shoot around with them. These are all the things he did behind the scene, but he never asked for any recognition whatsoever.
Yeah. And Jay, our man Jay.
Yeah, Jay. Jay is one of the top attorneys there in Westchester. I introduced him. How we met Jay is very interesting. The Mets had a function, and Gus and I was invited, and this crazy guy kept coming to the table, Jay Brussman.
Crazy, you said that
right. And this guy proceeded to kiss us. So I'm like, who are you? He says, I'm a big fan of Gus, and he has all the knowledge. I said, Jay knows more about sports than he does law.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, and I says, Jay, well, I called him. I was like, where are you? We're scheduled to have dinner. As you know, Lowe's, we had dinner with him all the time.
Yes.
And Jay says, I have a couple of guys in jail, but they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, I know we got some time pressures here.
Yeah. But, we got like 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to leave you guys with this. This is one of the songs that Gus would always play, and this epitomizes, I think, what Gus
I don't think you
about.
can play it on here.
No, I'm not going to play it. I'm going to tell you. It's by Bob Seger. It's called Running Against the Wind.
Running Against the Wind.
So if you ever get a chance, put it on and listen to it, and you will see Gus when you listen to that song.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And, I know my brother was trying to encourage us. He said he was trying to get on. I don't know, what happened, but he was supposed to pop on too as well. But, the thing we want is, we're fighting now. We've been fighting for a while to the campaign for the Basketball Hall of Fame. I mean, Gus's numbers matches anybody that's in there.
That's right.
His numbers, his averages, the things that he did in the league. He should be a Basketball Hall of Famer, and
no doubt.
He should have got inducted before, his passing. So we're going to continue to fight this fight here in terms of this campaign for Gus into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And, I'm going to say, that Gus, man, he's been a blessing to all of us. And, the final thing here is I'm gonna show a video. I want to thank you guys for taking time out your busy schedule and joining me this morning to celebrate Gus. And I'm gonna play this final video. We ain't coming back. So when it ends, the show will end. But thank you, Hugo. Thank you, Harry. And it's just been, we're gonna miss Gus, man. Tremendously. And I thank you guys for coming on, sharing this morning.
Hey, Lowe's, can I say one more thing here?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like for us to have a part 2. Why? Because Rick Barry will be the point person to helping Gus get into the Hall of Fame. And the reason why, because the chairman of the Hall of Fame and Rick are very, very good friends. We did a function at the White House a couple of years back, and we was talking about Gus because Gus played with Rick in Golden State.
Right.
So I'd like Rick to, So I'd like Rick to come on with a couple other guys of influence to help the Wizard get.
Give me some dates on a Sunday evening or a Saturday morning. Give me a couple of dates that they're comfortable with, and I say let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it, man. And I see
let's see this video,
Clive Vaughn. I see Clive Vaughn over here.
Yeah, Clive.
Yeah.
Mr. Pittsburgh.
And, yes, Hugo. He said, let Joe Dumars know. I put in a call to Isaiah about Joe Dumars because in the interview I showed earlier, Joe Dumars said that Gus was his idol in high school. And his favorite player, and the 3 pictures he has on his wall in his office now is Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Gus Williams. Right.
Well,
and,
that's great.
Yeah.
And time's getting away from us. But the last thing, too, is that when Isaiah Thomas was the president with the Knicks, and Gus and I had brought some guys in to do business, and Isaiah came up to where we were sitting, and he says, let me tell you about the Wizard. He was my idol. He says, because I tied my strings behind my shoes because of Gus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That quietly but impressive, Gus.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And so I'm going to show the video. I want to say thank you to everyone who supported this morning on this special All-Star Weekend show. Gus was a friend and a brother to all of us. We love him. He will be truly missed, right? But you know what? I heard somebody say the most important thing in your birth, right? Your birth is your birth date and your ending date. But the most important of those things is the dash in the middle. And what you do with that dash is important. And God and Gus blessed us all in his dash. So, and that's Amen. Why we're on here this morning. So here's the video. And the final video. I will not come back. Thank you guys. God bless you guys. And I say this every week. If the Lord allow you to wake up tomorrow, make tomorrow your masterpiece. Check this video out.
One of the most exciting and dynamic players of his era, Gus Williams was an integral part of the Seattle SuperSonics' 1979 NBA championship team.
The Seattle SuperSonics have won the NBA World Championship Series.
Originally a second-round pick by the Warriors, Williams arrived in Seattle in 1977 and quickly turned the Sonics into a Western Conference power.
Gus was really a great teammate. His speed on the court really put a lot of pressure on teams. He really was a catalyst for our offense.
Gus Williams, he's unstoppable.
At just 6'2", Williams was a scoring guard and had a unique skill set which really hadn't been seen before.
Although I'm maybe smaller than most people out there, my quickness really make up for a lot of things that I don't have.
Gus! His combination of speed, athleticism, and potent scoring earned him the nickname The Wizard.
The unbelievable wizard, Gus Williams.
Defense has always got to worry about Gus. And if he can push it out the court, I want him to put pressure on the other team.
Oh, man. That's what makes him so exciting, so special.
Gus Williams was underappreciated all these years. He was a complete package as a player. Everything with Gus was easy for him and difficult for the other guy.
A two-time All-Star, Williams was at his best during the Sonics' postseason runs.
Gus Williams rises to the occasion.
Teamed with Hall of Famer Dennis Johnson in the Sonics' backcourt, the duo led Seattle to back-to-back NBA Finals.
I think playing with Gus really made me look good, actually. Gus got me that way for 3 years. I thanked him, too, every year.
Basketball, it's just something that's in me. I played for 12 years and 4 different teams. Got to travel and see new people, and like a dream come true. In that regards, I'm one of the luckiest guys in the world.